Welcome back, Focus Learners. I am so excited to have you here for today's explainer, because we're about to explore a totally radical, kind of paradoxical approach to finding peace. We're diving deep into the insights of Thomas Alethea from his book 12 Steps to a Good Life. But hey, instead of giving you some massive new to-do list, we're going to look at the exact opposite. We're talking about the absolute zen of doing nothing.
Seriously, just think about your own life for a second. We're constantly absorbing new productivity hacks, we're downloading all the mindfulness apps, and we're striving to optimize literally every waking second. But why is it that our frantic attempts to improve ourselves so often leave us feeling completely overwhelmed, totally burned out, and honestly, way more miserable than when we started? It's like we treat ourselves as broken machines that just need the right wrench.
The philosopher Blaise Pascal once famously wrote, "All of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone." Man, that really hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? It perfectly captures our modern obsession with constant action and endless distraction. The stakes here couldn't be higher. We are quite literally running ourselves into the ground, trying to escape the simple reality of our own existence.
Section 1, the perennial struggle. The quiet, persistent ache of existence. Okay, let's dive right into this. Alethea introduces this concept of the perennial struggle. It's that universal, quiet, persistent ache that something is just fundamentally wrong with us, or that something essential is missing, no matter how much we actually achieve. Think of it like a little claymation figure being frantically pulled in 10 different directions at once by invisible strings. That is exactly what's happening internally. It manifests as self-sabotage, existential emptiness, chronic indecision, and a constantly exhausting inner conflict. We are essentially at war with ourselves.
Section 2, the trap of doing. Why fixing ourselves is a trap. Because we feel all this inner chaos, our immediate panicked reaction is to try and fix it, right? We pile on more rules. Well, Alea's own life is a crazy testament to this trap. As a kid, he absorbed completely contradictory rules about who he was supposed to be. Then, for 27 years, he numbed the pain with alcohol. And even after getting sober, he spent another 50 years desperately piling on more rules and self-help techniques. He was basically slapping heavy lumps of clay onto that chaotic inner figure, desperately trying to fix his flaws, before he finally realized that he was the source of his own misery.
So, he discovered that most of his efforts were actually what he calls action faking. You know the feeling. It's when you do things that make you think you're making progress when you're really not. Forcing yourself through complex, rigid meditation routines or just absorbing endless self-help books without any real internal change. That's usually just action faking. It keeps that internal clay figure in a chaotic, heavy, and exhausted state. It's movement, sure, but without any actual direction.
Section 3, the art of just sitting. The antidote to constant action.
So what's the alternative here? Well, let's just take a breath. The profoundly counterintuitive solution Alethea found, drawing from some incredibly ancient wisdom, is the art of just sitting. And there's a huge, stark contrast here. When we think of traditional meditation, we usually picture strict posture, closed eyes, focusing intensely on the breath, or maybe repeating a mantra over and over. It feels like work. But just sitting is a whole different ballgame. Your eyes stay open, there's no mantra, you aren't even consciously following your breath. It requires absolute, literal, zero effort.
Let's see how this actually builds into a practice. It's almost ironic to even call these steps, but here's how it goes. First, turn off your electronics and simply sit down. Second, do not close your eyes. Third, do not follow your breath. And fourth, just notice your passing thoughts without any judgment or goal. Imagine our chaotic little clay figure finally dropping all those invisible strings and heavy lumps of extra clay, settling and smoothing out effortlessly into its natural, resting shape.
Section 4. No rules, just awareness. Stripping away the expectations.
By completely stripping away all the rules, expectations, and goals, we totally change our relationship with reality. We're no longer treating our existence as a problem to be solved. Instead, we're treating it as an experience to be felt. The crucial takeaway here is that humans operate in two basic modes: doing and being. The doing mode is obviously necessary for survival and getting things done, but man, it is exhausting when left running constantly. Just sitting isn't about ignoring reality. It's about purposefully shifting out of that exhausting doing gear and sliding gracefully into pure being mode.
In this state of being, you aren't fighting anything at all. You're just practicing pure awareness. You notice the hum of the refrigerator, you notice the weight of your body on the chair, You might even notice a panicked thought about your to-do list float in, and then you just let it float right back out. You sit perfectly at peace. You allow your emotions to move through you rather than letting them attach to you and control your behavior.
Aletheia includes this absolutely beautiful piece of ancient Zen wisdom in the text. Sitting quietly, doing nothing. Spring comes and the grass grows by itself. Just let that sink in for a second. You do not have to force the universe to function. There is this beautiful organic relief in non-attachment and total effortlessness. Growth happens naturally when we simply stop getting in our own way.
Section 5. Finding peace in reality. Returning to everyday life. But hey, what actually happens when we stand back up? Because we aren't meant to just sit in a room forever, right? We have to return to our daily lives, our jobs, our relationships. Well, Aletheia grounds these esoteric Zen concepts in incredibly practical reality. By integrating this inner focus, this ability to just shift into being mode, he observed very specific real-world benefits. We're talking reduced anxiety and emotional reactivity, an increased capacity for calm and focus when things get totally chaotic, greater empathy and forgiveness for others, mainly because you are finally forgiving yourself. Ultimately, it leads to a much deeper, grounded sense of purpose.
I want to end on this incredibly provocative thought drawn from the Tao Te Ching, featured right in the book's wisdom section. Can you remain tranquil until right action occurs by itself? I really want to challenge you today with that exact question. The next time you feel the frantic, overwhelming urge to fix yourself or force a solution, can you step back, let go of the doing, and simply be? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope you walk away feeling just a little bit lighter today.